In the heart of Africa, the Democratic Republic of Congo is the second largest nation on the continent, a country rich in diversity and with an immense culture. This country shares borders with many others, such as Angola, Burundi, Central African Republic, Rwanda, Tanzania, South Sudan, Uganda, Zambia, and the Republic of Congo, which, despite the similar name, is another nation. Both were formed in 1960 after gaining independence, with the difference that they were colonized by different countries, France and Belgium. When they stopped being colonized by these two countries, they remained separate for decades. The entire Congo was placed at the personal service of a single European king in one of the most cruel colonial regimes that ever existed. Purporting to bring a civilizing and philanthropic mission to the entire Congo Basin region, this king turned the place into his personal colony. And to this day, the country suffers from the terrible past of resource exploitation destined for Europe. Welcome to the Democratic Republic of Congo. Despite being in the center of Africa, this country with 2,345,000 square kilometers has access to the sea through a small strip of land approximately 37 kilometers long. There are about 200 ethnic groups spread throughout the Congo, distributed among its more than 95 million inhabitants, making it the fourth most populous country in Africa. More than half of this population lives in rural areas. French is the only official language of the Democratic Republic of Congo. However, only about 20% of the population uses it as their mother tongue. There are more than 240 minority languages spoken in the country, belonging to various linguistic families. Kinshasa, the capital, is one of the largest French-speaking cities in the world. Approximately 17 million people live in this city. An interesting curiosity is that the capital is on the banks of the Congo River, facing the capital of the Republic of Congo, making them the two closest capitals in the world, with a distance of 1.6 kilometers between them. Although many remember Rome and Vatican City as the closest, it should be considered that the Vatican is not considered a country by the United Nations. In Congo, there is a proverb that says, "He who does not travel does not know the value of men." In South Kivu, all these travelers are heroes. It takes courage to cross the roads of the region that have long been abandoned by the government. The inland cities are almost completely isolated from the world, without supplies. With the scarcity of jobs, many Congolese choose to transport food and people on muddy roads. It's a long journey for those who venture into these lands. Segments with only 30 kilometers can last up to 4 days when moving in rainy periods. Reaching the destination is already a huge feat. Just look at the roads and understand the suffering of its people. Without much choice, the Congolese learn to fend for themselves from an early age, whatever the circumstances may be, whether by train, truck, bicycle, or on foot. Others charge tolls to clear the way for these vehicles. For example, travelers push up to 200 kilograms of cargo on bicycles to bring from one village to another. It is common for trucks to break down on the way due to the difficulty and challenges brought by the journey, with narrow roads, mud puddles, and broken bridges. As a result of the inaccessible transportation prices for most of the population, many people travel on the roofs of trains, facing serious risks. In the capital, due to the lack of reliable public transportation, negotiating with drivers is part of the routine. Cars are old and in terrible condition. The price of a taxi ride varies from 1,000 to 5,000 Congolese francs, which is about $2 to $9 per trip. This service is little or almost inaccessible for the Congolese people, who also use motorcycles or bicycles to get around the cities due to the lower cost. Some cities in Congo have dirt landing strips to facilitate access and transportation of goods. However, the towers are insecure and are not properly equipped with radars to guide pilots. Gasoline prices are so expensive that a liter can cost a small fortune. The cost of living in many cities without access is more expensive than in any city in Europe. Some products can cost 3 to 4 times more, and merchants themselves make a minimal profit. The country's poor infrastructure makes life difficult for its people, increasing the value of food and basic utensils. The local currency is the Congolese franc, introduced in 1887 when Congo was still a Belgian colony. The average income revolves around $50 per month, much below the global average. An isolated region with a high cost of living, you may be wondering why 80,000 people live in this city, and the answer is simple. The Hinhe River crosses the region. And since 2014, with the discovery of gold in its bed, thousands of people have come to make a living as artisanal miners. They risk their lives in these waters without knowing if they will return home alive due to shipwrecks and armed groups that extort them from the river. Every year, this abundance of gold yields few benefits for the Congolese people who compete with large Chinese companies that benefit from the extraction of this metal. Local workers face many challenges with constant disagreements due to lack of security, resulting in many accidents. Many families make their living from this precious metal, which is exported to other countries that exploit Congo through agreements with the government. Such abundance does not reach the population. Wealth is restricted to a handful of businessmen and government officials. Yes, my friends, Congo is one of the most corrupt countries in the world, according to the Corruption Perceptions Index of 2022. This nation ranks 166th out of 180 countries evaluated. Like many African countries, the Democratic Republic of Congo faces serious corruption problems attributed mainly to political instability, lack of education, and incompetence of leaders who exploit the country for their own benefit, further fueling poverty and inequality, resulting in primitive living conditions for the majority. The problems persist to this day, with leaders unable to combat this evil. Currently, only a small elite in the country lives in luxury, mostly composed of relatives of politicians in government positions. People end up paying a high price for corruption, with a lack of electricity, sewage systems, or drinking water. The reality for many people is to consume this liquid in an unhealthy way, without any treatment containing harmful amounts of mercury from the activity carried out in the region. The consumption of these turbid waters without proper care can result in a series of future diseases in the digestive and even cardiovascular systems. Due to the large population, many regions are affected. Thus, several Congolese families, unable to sustain themselves, prefer to live in camps established by humanitarian organizations. Energy distribution is scarce in most households, and even where it is available, interruptions are frequent. Household waste is commonly seen scattered on the streets, polluting the cities, considering that waste collection is ineffective. Thus, life expectancy in the country is 61 years, below other countries that can exceed 80 years. Poverty is widespread even in a country with its subsoil rich in natural resources, where copper, diamond, uranium, gold, and especially cobalt are extracted, resulting in serious ecological crises. This country is the world's leading cobalt producer, with about 4 million tons of this metal, which is widely used in lithium batteries, equipping cell phones and laptops, as well as superconductors and other applications. To give you an idea, global reserves are 8.3 million tons, which means that the Democratic Republic of Congo has almost half of that value. Another extremely valuable material is coltan, widely used in the aerospace industry, such as engine and satellite construction, as well as other areas of technology. 15 of the 19 mining companies in Congo are Chinese. These corporations realized long ago that exploiting the territory would be profitable at the expense of the quality of life of the country. Know that when you acquire an electronic product manufactured in China, most likely its raw materials come from the extraction of Congolese soil. Miners in the Democratic Republic of Congo are usually young and poor. They come from rural and urban areas and, without many options, see mining as an opportunity. In precarious conditions, the daily life of a miner is difficult and dangerous, working long hours and exposed to risks of accidents, diseases, and constant disagreements with others who dispute resources. The work is done manually using simple tools. These men dig tunnels and galleries with picks, shovels, and other equipment. Most of the work is inside these dark, humid excavations with little ventilation and exposed to toxic gases and dust. Moreover, their salaries are generally low, earning an average of about $1 per day. An underdeveloped country with various natural resources has its dark side. The eastern region of the country, where most of the minerals are concentrated, has been a battleground for hundreds of armed groups that have fought for control of the territory. United Nations peacekeeping forces operate on the borders to prevent possible conflicts between African states. Even so, it is not always enough. People have no choice but to seek shelter in the forest or bush, exposing them completely to elements such as animals and without any basic structure to survive. These conflicts, neglected by the government, in addition to natural disasters, have been causing the largest humanitarian crisis in the world, with almost 7 million people displaced and 25 million going hungry every day. The average income of the population is very low, reaching 63% of the people living below the poverty line, meaning they earn less than $1.90 per day. The cuisine of this country is dominated by agricultural products, and one of the favorite dishes is fumbua, prepared with banana leaf, palm oil, and peanut sauce. Our well-known and famous rice and beans are also part of the cuisine there, called lu namo. Dongdongo is also appreciated by many Congolese, consisting of a dish prepared with okra, and meat is optional. There are numerous vegetarian options in the country, including edible larvae that are part of many typical dishes. On the public roads of the country, some work as street vendors or porters to survive, but the strongest means of production is agriculture, representing 60% of the population. Congo is home to one of the largest tropical forests in the world. The Congo Basin is home to many fascinating animals, such as the gorilla. Virunga National Park is home to 25% of all gorillas on the planet. They are extremely strong and territorial animals. Have you heard of the curious okapi, known as the giraffe of the Ituri forest? It resides in the northeast of Congo. Despite its resemblance to the zebra, it is more closely related to the giraffe. Congo's natural wealth is as abundant as its territorial extent. The country is home to a variety of ethnic groups, each with its own language, culture, and tradition. Music and dance are important elements of Congolese culture. Congo faces a series of challenges, mainly due to the corruption that plagues the country. Youth see modernity as an almost impossible dream. These challenges make it difficult for the country to harness its potential. However, Congo also has great productive capacity. The nation has a young population and an immeasurable wealth of natural resources. Thank you for watching until the end. Be sure to check out this video of a curious place that is appearing on your screen. See you there.